Alan, stay with us. We want to bring in our panel now. Fox News contributor Andrea Tantaros and Democratic strategist Christopher Hahn. Thank you guys for being here. Andrea, first to you. Is Trump right to be playing on the questions that this is a key, critical part of whether or not this president has legitimacy?
No. I think Trump's strength is on the economy. I think that's where he needs to stick. That's his background. He's created tons of jobs here in New York. He was making things happen, although he gets a lot of attention with the birther issue. And there's a lot of people in America that are saying, it's just weird. Why wouldn't Obama release the birth certificate to begin with? Now everyone's sitting around talking about it. It is strange. Although I do think Trump thinks there might be a case there. He should pivot. He really should pivot because he doesn't need the earned media.
Let me give Trump some advice, one bald guy to another, because we bald guys should stick together. Donald, you're not going to be invited to P. Diddy's party if you keep this up this summer, because you are going down a road that is, quite frankly, insane. The American people, for the most part, do not believe any of this birther nonsense, and it is just that nonsense.
American people, for the most part, seem to be kind of divided on this issue.
The Republican Party is divided on this issue. There are 44% of Republicans believe the birther issue, and Alan is among them. And I have to say, the reason why the court found that there was no standing here is because there was no case in controversy. The president handed in his certificate of live birth, which in Hawaii is used to get passports and to prove citizenship in this country.
But why didn't he give everything immediately? Why didn't he give everything immediately? Was it arrogance, or was it just an oversight?
I think that he probably said, here I am, the first African-American to run on a major party ticket for president, and people are saying I wasn't born here. Why? Because I have a different name.
Why shouldn't he have to do what everybody else has to do?
No one else has been asked to do as much as he has.
Well, because no one else has had the background.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I have to jump in here. The mainstream media dismisses this issue and has given him a pass on it. They were going after George Bush's grandfather. Hold on. Let me finish my point. They were going after George Bush's grandfather, investigating whether or not he stole Geronimo's skull. They would put up on 60 Minutes fake military documents about George W. Bush. Why did they not give this the same amount of coverage?
Because there's a double standard. But let me ask Alan, let me ask you, what do you make of what Chris said? You're smiling. Go ahead.
Well, I smile because the certification of live birth was actually issued for people not born in the United States. And that is a key point in one of the things that's brought forward as to whether or not there is a question.
That's not true, Alan.
About, excuse
Alan,
me,
it's not
can
true.
I
No,
finish,
I'm not going to excuse you.
Wait a minute. You're at our table.
I didn't
You will wait
interrupt
until
you.
Alan
I
is
didn't
finished.
interrupt
Alan,
you.
go ahead. Finish what you were saying. Finish what you were saying.
I let you talk. Okay, that was one of the issues. But as I have said, you have on the one hand the certification of live birth and the questions that have been raised about whether it proves the natural-born citizen status. Every remark that was just made is about citizen status, but that's not what's at issue. The phrase natural-born citizen implies something different than just citizen status. And it was usually interpreted during various things. Natural law under Vattel, common law, the law as it was in evidence when the debate on the 14th Amendment took place in the floor of the Congress, that 2 citizen parents were required to establish natural-born citizen status, not
so there
one.
are issues.
Now,
Chris,
wait,
this is not just Alan Keyes who is saying this. This is a number of people who are questioning whether or not there is legality here. Go ahead, Chris.
You know, I got to say, this to me is we've talked about this for 2 years now, 3 years now almost.
Why do you think that? Is it only politics, or is there any legitimacy in this discussion?
I think that there are people. I don't think there's any legitimacy to it whatsoever, and I think that people see a president whose name does not sound quite like an American name and whose skin color is not like all the other presidents.
You think that's why Alan Keyes is questioning this? So, Alan Keyes, are you a racist?
Yeah. Excuse me, I have raised this issue. I was like everybody else. When it was first brought to me, I said, no, surely that's been done. When you look at the facts, you realize, and here's the important point, the phrase natural-born citizen refers to a standard in nature. The issue of what constitutes being something by nature is something the lawyers shy away from because they want to pretend that the Constitution makes no reference to natural law, and that's a lie. But it is a real issue that is presented in the language and must be dealt with.
Well, the real issue is we have literally run out of time. Alan, I don't mean to be rude, but I have to cut you off because we